Hey guys, so I'm going to show you today how to make a soft slab cylinder using a cardboard tube and a template and a slab. Okay, so I can show you how to make a slab separately, but I also have a slab roller. So I rolled this slab out in my machine, and now what I'm going to do next is to make sure that my template fits inside my clay slab, which it does. So my template wraps around this cardboard tube, and that's how we put our slab together. So these two things are pretty important, and you'd want to make sure that there's a 1/2 inch overlap of your template to whatever tube that you choose. So let's get started. I'm going to work with some different textures today. I have this pretty cool piece of fabric, so I'm going to lay that over my clay slab, and I'm going to use a rolling pin to very firmly press that texture into that clay slab surface. So roll it right over. Okay, make sure it's nice and even. So now when I reveal, you can see the nice texture of that lace curtain. So now I'm going to overlap with some different stamps that I have. So I'm kind of doing like a C theme. So I'm going to take this knot stamp, I'm pressing firmly. So you can have fun with choosing different textures. You can use stamps, non-traditional things, like even a fork texture or a spoon or a bobby pin, anything that you have around, or even like a jewelry ring or something that you wear could be interesting. So as soon as you push into the surface of your slab and you're happy with what you have, now you're going to use the template to cut the shape. So I'm going to lay my template right over and frame the section that I want. That's what's going to be showcased on the center of your cylinder. So you want to understand that some of it is going to be the foot of your form and some of it will be the edge or the rim. So I purposely decided to leave this part up here free of texture to have for the rim in case I wanted to drink out of that. That would feel nice against my mouth instead of something that had texture. So I'm going to frame some of that area up here by putting my template down. I'm going to use a straight edge to cut away all of this extra clay. So I'm going to hold that firmly with one hand and slice through. And I'm going to rotate my template to each side. Okay, go beyond the template when you're cutting. That way you get a nice clean cut. So I'm going to remove all this extra clay from around the form. I'm going to peel away my template. And now I need my cardboard form. So my cardboard form looks like this, but I covered it with a very loose manila sleeve and adhered it just with some masking tape. This is going to make sure the clay does not stick to the tube, but it will stick to the paper. Now we use this tube to create the form and the structure of our slab. Okay, our slab is really soft, so it needs something to kind of have structure to keep that nice cylindrical form intact. So I'm going to take my clay, I'm going to take my paper, I'm just going to lift and peel away. Okay, now I'm going to take my cardboard form, I'm going to stand that up, and I'm going to roll it around my clay slab. Okay, so now that I have my clay slab draped around my form, now I'm going to take my scoring tool, and I'm going to score the seams inside here so that that sticks together. So I'm going to use a serrated tool. Okay, that's what this is. So I'm just going to drag and score that seam and do the same here. And now I'm going to add slurry. Take a little bit on my finger and dollop that into those score marks you just scored. And now I'm going to stick this together. So I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to bring my thumbs together so that seam lines up. just like so. Now I take my thumb and I'm going to just drag down to that seam and clean that up. Okay, so now I can remove the cardboard form. So the paper is going to be stuck inside, but that's okay. So the form is removed. So now you find the edge of that paper, and now you can just twist with your fingers and pull out. So the last thing is showing you the bottom part of this vessel is the tripod. So now you want to decide which part of the form that you'd want to be your bottom or your top. Now because I used that stamp that said Bon Voyage, I want this to be the bottom part. So I'm going to create like a triangle with my hand, and I'm going to very slowly turn that circle into a triangle. Now before I enclose it, I want to make sure I score on that inside seam. So I'm going to take my serrated tool and just make some score marks on the inside part. Now I'm going to grab my slurry, add my slurry into the score marks you just created. So now I'm going to close this form. So I'm just going to pinch those corners, and I'm going to rotate and slowly pinch inside. I want to make sure that's an enclosed form. Now I'm going to hold with 2 fingers here, and I'm just going to compress with my thumb, and that's going to create a nice, smooth, and even bottom to your tripod. Okay, don't forget to use a little bit of water on a paintbrush to clean up any edges. Make sure everything is nice and smooth. Check that inside seam that we created. Just kind of compress a little bit with your thumb and your finger. And there you go. A little tripod slab cylinder.